next up, we want to, since we've been talking about franchises and Sean Connery, the next one we'll talk about is the 25th 007 movie. It's called No Time. No Time. I wrote No Time Today, but it's called No Time to Live.
No Time to Die Hard.
No. So yeah, No Time to Live. Daniel Craig's last outing as 007. It was
No Time to Die.
Oh, No Time to Die. Okay, well, so that makes sense. No Time to Live. So No Time to Die is Daniel Craig's last outing as 007. It's also the 25th movie in the franchise. I believe it was scheduled to. I know it was scheduled to come out this year. I think
it was scheduled to come out originally. Now it's scheduled to come out April 2nd, 2021. Yeah. Originally, it was supposed to be. Oh, they actually don't have the date on here when it was supposed to be released.
But yeah, I think it was like either the summer or like just pre-summer, and then it was moved to like November because they thought they'll get this under control.
No, it was actually originally scheduled to be released November 2019, but then was postponed for February 2020, and then to April 2020 after Boyle's departure. So I'm assuming the real release date, like after they finally got everything figured out, was going to be April of this year.
Okay. Yeah. So as you guys know, there's this pandemic, and that pushed all these movie dates back. Well, the reason why we're bringing it up is because there's talk that the movie's being shopped to Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix for a starting bid of $600 million.
Oof.
Right. So yeah, basically, rather than go to the theaters and earn 600 million or a billion or whatever. With the state of the theaters right now, they're shopping.
That would already double that's more than their budget was 250 million. So that would instantly give them
it will double. Yeah, they'll get their profits back. But you know that these 007 movies
would have made a billion.
They would make a billion. Yeah, I think Spectre did that, didn't it? So you have to weigh that option. Do we wait to put out in theaters to make a billion, or do we just go get our money now? Because at a certain point, people are going to be like, we don't want to keep waiting for this movie. It's been like 2 years. So it's being shopped around, and
I will say something about this possibly being shopped around. I think what a lot of companies are starting to realize is they're starting to think post-pandemic, like when the pandemic is finally over, or it's finally, let's just hope for like April, right, is when they finally find the vaccine, right? When they finally get a vaccine for this. That'll hopefully remove, because guess what, people, vaccines actually work. When that makes it go down, then people are going to then theaters will be able to finally start opening back up. The thing is, though, how many theaters are going to be able to open back up, right? Which one's the one that's a big movie theater chain that's possibly going to go bankrupt and or closing? Like right now, they said they're just closing all the theaters, but when you lose so much money from closing all your theaters, are you really going to be able to open back up? I think what's going to happen is a lot of independent theaters are going to start opening up because, like, places like Regal. Regal is owned by a British company. The British company might be like, you know what, screw it, Americans, you guys are taking so long. We're already having issues here. We're just going to concentrate on this, and we're just going to file for bankruptcy for Regal, right? So I think a lot of these places are thinking, one, how are movie theaters going to be affected? How much actual movie theaters are going to be available for us to be able to get back our profits? And then two, a lot of movies are starting to go back into productions. Right? Because if you've seen, I thought a lot of these shows that recently came out, I thought they were filmed pre-pandemic. So This Is Us just came out, right? The first episode was talking about the coronavirus. So I was like, oh crap. I was like, they're filming during the pandemic. For some reason I thought they had filmed like way back in like November and then we're going to release it this year, because it didn't seem like there was much of a delay in actual production. So a lot of films are starting. So now when these new films that are being filmed now are coming out, is the company really going to hold those off until all these other big movies come? So, so there might be an oversaturation of films once films actually start being released. So I think those two kind of things are starting to hit. They're starting to think about that. Or in this case, it might just be one of those things where like, yo, we don't want to sit on this $250 million budget movie. Let's just go ahead and get our profits now.
Yeah. I think your point about oversaturation of movies is a really good point, because what we're seeing happening is like a lot of these, like, I think Black Widow,
Dune.
when it was scheduled to move to,
Oh,
is like coming out at the same time as like another studio's like big blockbuster movie. I think it's something from Warner Brothers.
wasn't it Fast and the Furious?
No, I want to say it's Wonder Woman.
Okay.
That
1984.
yeah, Wonder Woman 84. I think they're now occupying like the same weekend or a couple of weekends apart. I could be wrong on that, but the point is, when you have this oversaturation, you now have the movie business cannibalizing itself.
Yeah.
So to mitigate that, you might be like, well, instead we have the movie, why not just put it out, right? One thing I wonder, if I'm Netflix, for instance, we know they've done this before with The Interview, the Seth Rogen, James Franco movie, but that was more because of backlash about the Kim Jong Un thing. But we know they've done it before, where there's a movie scheduled for wide release, and then they pull it from theaters, and Netflix buys it and puts it out. So it's not unprecedented. Same thing with what Amazon just did with Borat. They paid 600 mil for it, and they just put it out. But if I'm Netflix, my thought process will be, is this movie the reason why people will sign up for Netflix?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is not having new movies like this the reason why someone will cancel the Netflix subscription? I don't think so, because even if they don't add another thing on Netflix for like the next year, there's still a ton of things I could be watching on Netflix and be fine. So yeah. I don't understand why Netflix would want to spend that much money to get.
I think the real battle will be between like Prime and Apple, because even though Prime, look,
I think Apple needs this.
Apple needs it because they also bought Greyhound, the Tom Hanks movie, which people would have watched it in theaters, but that's one of those, like, you go to the theaters and, oh, Greyhound, let's watch that, right? Versus like, oh my God, I really got to watch Greyhound. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a lot of people who are James Bond fans. Yeah. Who I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are James Bond fans who subscribe to Hulu because they found out that Hulu has all the James Bond movies, right? So I would think like the battle will really be between Apple and Prime, because Prime, even though they have a lot of subscribers to Amazon Prime, a lot of them don't. You know how many Prime subscribers don't realize they have Amazon Prime, the streaming channel, because it's different. It's a completely different app. Because my wife got Prime like a year and a half, 2 years before I realized that. I was like, oh crap, we have Amazon Prime. Because I was like, hey, what's the password to Prime? And she sent it to me, and I was like, oh snap. And I started watching my favorite my favorite series of all time, Orphan Black. I started watching it on Amazon Prime. Okay. I had no idea. So there's a lot of people who don't realize they have Prime. And then the thing is, though, once you do get Prime for, say, No Time to Die, now you have Prime to get your orders too. So Amazon kind of is playing a little bit of a different game. It's like, hey, look, our subscription, it's $99 one-time fee, but hey, you get to watch No Time, and now you get to order all these movies. That's the only thing that I think will be screwed up Amazon, is the fact that, now I don't know if they do monthly, but theirs is based off of you getting Prime, and it's a $99 one-time, like, for the whole year. $99 might be a special that my wife gets because she's still a student, but that's one of the things that they have. Whereas Apple TV is, they have right now, for me, they have like the first 3 months are free.
But I wouldn't be shocked if like it's on Prime Video, but you still have to pay like $5 to watch it. Because they do have that option where they.
But they didn't do that in Borat.
No, Borat was like free with your subscription. But they do have that option where they'll have. They were gonna do that with. There was a movie. a black movie um, that came out, and they were gonna do that, and then this whole Black Lives Matter thing started happening, and then they're
Was
like,
it the one between the ones where they shoot the cop and then they no, that was a Hulu. That one went on
no,
Hulu.
yeah. But anyway, so it's a black movie. This whole thing happened, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna make it free. We think this movie should be seen, especially in these times. So they ended up making it free. Um, so yeah, so they have the option to either just put it out like they did Borat, and you have Prime now, you can watch this, or they can be like, hey, for $5 you can rent this for 2 days.
$5 would make sense. I don't think they would do for $29.99 because I don't think Mulan
No,
really
that's
did for
dumb.
Disney what they thought it was going to do.
That's
It really
dumb.
didn't. Not
Yeah.
enough people did.
If you're already paying for Prime and they say, hey, pay $30 of this, people will be like,
You're not
no,
gonna,
screw that.
you're not going to do it, but you're definitely $5. Yeah, to watch. Okay.
Yeah, I do that, and I probably would download Apple TV if they got the rights to No Time to Die. If not just for that movie, and then I'll check out all those other shows like C with Jason Momoa and all that stuff.
My wife watched that. That's the first, like I told her, I was like, hey, they just gave me this free because our TV did it for some reason. Like our TV had a special because we have one of those like not a smart. I guess it's a smart TV. What's considered a smart TV? Just anything that all the apps are already loaded and whatnot.
Yeah,
So it's
the
smart
apps
TV.
are loaded and you can download apps.
Okay, so the smart TV, you really can't download apps on there. They're already just preloaded on there. So I guess mine's a semi-smart TV. But
smart for its time.
Huh?
Smart for its time.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. It's a highly intelligent television. So they gave me a thing where it's like you get 3 months for free. So I did that, and the first thing she watched was C. But then I saw that Groundhog was there by Tom Hanks. So a lot more people. So Apple TV, I think, is one of those few.
Greyhound, you mean?
Greyhound. What did I say?
Groundhog.
Yeah, Greyhound. I'm sorry. Greyhound is on there, right? And then I had completely forgot about the movie because they did previews for it, but then now it's on Apple TV. I think Apple TV is probably the one that's going to bite the bullet on this if there is truth to this, unless they just decide, you know what, it's a James Bond movie. We just can't let it be released in a streaming service first. We got to do the theaters. But I think right now what the production companies, all these companies are starting to realize is like, look, going to the theater might not be something that a lot of people want to do anymore, right? Because you got, like, I think I mentioned this before. You have great televisions now. You know, me watching Mulan on television, I would have loved to have seen it in a big screen, but I was still fine with seeing it at my 65-inch TV, right? Because I'm right there, right in front of it. So it's just like there's just some, I don't know. I think the movie industry has a lot of soul searching to do because this pandemic really made them ask. Because then a lot of people start saying that theaters were starting to suffer anyways prior to the COVID pandemic because a lot of people just weren't going to movies.
Yeah, prices and stuff. Like you said, people had other options and streaming services and all that. I'm a big 007 fan, but I'm also the type that if they said we're gonna do streaming and not theaters, I'd be completely fine with that.
You'd still be watching it, yeah, because you're still watching a 007.
It's not the big blockbuster Marvel movie, the big action set pieces that you feel like you have to see it in theaters with your other Marvel fans. No, it's not one of those.
But it is one of those franchises that it gets released, people are going to go because it's like, hey, it's 007. A lot of people don't even have to see. You don't even have to see the previews for it. I don't think I saw the Casino Royale previews for it when I went to go watch it, just because I was like, oh, it's the new James Bond movie. It's the new James Bond with the new James Bond. So
people are gonna go, but I don't think they need the theater for it, like they would for a superhero movie.
That's true, and it also depends on which superhero movie.
Yeah. Okay.